We do have sort of an on-site technical part of our interview where we let you sit at a desktop and do some different technical challenges and see how folks perform against those. And if they're going to be a good fit, did they enjoy it? Could they solve the challenges? Making sure not only we're identifying qualified talent, but also helping the candidates ensure that, hey, this is work that I'm going to want to do 40 hours a week for the next few years, and it's a good fit from their side as well.
Welcome to Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How, the podcast for cleared professionals looking for new opportunities and career advice. We go behind the scenes with recruiters and hiring managers from leading cleared employers to uncover the information you need to make a smart career move. Get ready for insights from this week's guest and your hosts, Kathleen Smith and Rachel Bozeman.
Hello, everyone. It's Kathleen, and welcome back to another episode. Rachel, how are you doing today?
You know, so good I can hardly stand myself. But what I can not wait for any longer, Kathleen, is to know who is our guest today on the show. Please don't make me wait any longer.
I won't. Today we're talking with Tim Zentz. He's the VP of CODEX at Nightwing. Welcome, Tim.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Tim, we are so glad you're here. And I'm just going to forewarn you, we have so many questions, so little time, so much to get to. But an important place to start is kind of at the beginning. And would love to hear about your personal journey, your career journey to Nightwing.
Oh, sure. So I started with Nightwing, what's now Nightwing. I actually started with Raytheon back in the early 2000s. I joined the company fresh out of college. I was hired into the finance department, working on some different government contracts as an individual finance contributor. And then gradually worked my way up into a leadership position, did some financial planning and analysis, moved over to business development for a few years. And that's what brought me to CODEX about 10 years ago. Been down now in Melbourne, Florida for the last 10 years, working in the business, writing proposals. And about 2 years ago, had the opportunity to step up and lead the business. And I've been doing that ever since, really enjoying the opportunity and just sort of the diversity that this job entails and the different activities and projects I get to work on. And then back in April, I'm sure folks have heard that our business was divested from Raytheon, and we are now a standalone company called Nightwing. So it's been a wild journey, but it's been a great one, and I've really enjoyed it.
So Nightwing, as you said, is a new company just established, spun out of Raytheon. Talk about the company's genesis. You have 4 business units, and what do those 4 business units do to support the cleared community?
Sure. So that's a great question. And while we are a new company, the work that we've been doing has been going on for over 40 years in the national security space. So the company's not new, but the name is. We comprise 4 business units. So CODEX is the business that I lead. We deal with advanced cybersecurity research challenges. We deliver mission success through an elite team of our engineers that are developing very custom technologies in the areas of vulnerability research and CNO tool development. We also do some data work and analytics. The second business unit that I'll describe is Cyber Protection Solutions, focusing on defensive cyber, as well as complex software integration and modernization through automation. The third business, High Consequence Missions, delivers intelligence solutions in the most challenging parts of the world. And then Special Projects Elite brings mission expertise coupled with unique technical solutions to seamlessly interconnect critical and highly complex global operations across the domains that they support. So, while we have 4 businesses, I think the real power of the company and Nightwing is what we're able to accomplish when we come together. So when you consider the size of our company, and that helps us to be increasingly agile. And then we've got a diverse customer set that you'd usually only find at a much larger company, really puts us in a unique position that we're excited about.
Wonderful. So I'm curious, being a marketer, why the name Nightwing? Where did that come from? What's the particular background on that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We get that a lot. We chose the name Nightwing just due to the nature of our work. Most of what we're doing is highly classified for our customers, and it happens around the clock, 24/7, over the weekends, holidays. We're always supporting the mission. So we think of ourselves as the team that is going to get any customer to the final mile of the mission, anytime, anywhere. We like to say that if things aren't making the news, we're doing our jobs. So that's what led us to the name Nightwing.
Love it. It is very superhero-esque. So very, very cool. So now that we know a little bit more about Nightwing, we know how the name came about, we know about the four different businesses in there. What our listeners would love to learn more about are what type of security cleared positions you're currently hiring for, especially in your neck of the woods there at Codex.
Yeah, I'll start with Codex. So right now we have a lot of jobs up in the Annapolis Junction, Fort Meade area. We really have a diverse set of things that we're hiring for. Test engineers, software developers, vulnerability researchers. We also hire RF-focused electrical engineers. Most of the folks that we're looking for have backgrounds in either computer science, computer engineering, or electrical engineering, but we're really hiring for aptitude. We're looking for engineers who aren't afraid of digging deep into problems. We got to understand the low-level ways that a lot of the systems that we're looking at, how they work, how they operate. And then we're looking for knowledge and experience across specific platforms, desktops, mobile devices, Internet of Things, embedded devices, much less focused on the sort of the front end web page type work. Now, if we, flip over to HCM, they're really looking in the Virginia area for applications developers, network engineers, IT specialists, and some facility and logistics folks. Cyber protection solutions, more general software engineering, applications developers, and network engineers, and then special projects elite, a lot more of the same of IT and facilities. So there's definitely diversity across the four business units. And then those locations, really vary from Maryland and Virginia, as I mentioned, but also across Texas, South Carolina, Florida, and Alabama. We even have a location out in Utah that we're trying to staff folks as well. So, our folks they're supporting missions worldwide and a lot of sites across the country as well.
Sounds awesome. So let's go to a really difficult question. What are the hardest jobs for you to fill on a regular basis? The ones that are the most challenging?
We have a really challenging time finding, skill sets that I would say are like on the cutting edge of new technologies and things that we're, working in. So a good example today would be, artificial intelligence, cloud forensics. Those things are so new that oftentimes talent isn't always readily available in the marketplace. So that's led us to some innovative internal training and development opportunities that we think is pretty unique to our business. And it allows us to find people that maybe we feel are a 70 or 80% solution for a job that we're trying to fill. And we put them through some training to get them over the goal line to where they can contribute on contract, deliver for our customers. And we've seen very high success rates. We're talking 70 to 100 people at this point over the last 12 months that we've been able to put through that training that if we didn't have that capability at our fingertips or within Nightwing, those were people that we would have had to pass on for job opportunities that now we've able to hire and deploy to missions. So it's been a very big success for us.
Something that we hear quite often from a lot of the cleared professionals is understanding more about those remote and hybrid opportunities and even the flexible schedules. What does that look like at Nightwing?
What I always tell folks is it's really contract dependent. So we have some unique classified programs right now in the Maryland area that have started to, I'll say, peel off some tasking that we are allowed to execute remotely. So that's allowed us to create some roles that were traditionally on a government site 5 days a week, now have some work from home 2 to 3 days a week. So we're seeing more of those hybrid positions pop up in the classified space. So we're really excited about that. It's part of our strategy to work with our customers and help sort of drive more of that tasking that can be done remote, following all the security rules to create those opportunities for our employees. We're also big on 980 schedules where our work allows it. So allowing folks every other Friday off. I know that's not necessarily unique in sort of the, I'll say, defense contracting space, but I think we've, made it easier for our employees to take advantage of those schedules, even if they are working on classified contracts. And then the last thing I'll say is for our employees that sit in a Nightwing facility, we really allow flexible scheduling. I can tell you here in Codex in Melbourne, Florida, some of our folks don't even come into work until 10 at night, and they work until 6 in the morning, and they go home, and that's their schedule. We have other folks that like to come in on the weekends and only come in during the week a few days. So we support what people have going on in their lives and try and make scheduling flexible for them so that it's an added benefit of working at Nightwing.
That's really great. I mean, you should allow night work if you have a company named Nightwing. I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
So, being a new company, do you have the typical hiring and interviewing process, or do you have a new way of doing things? What does it look like, your interviewing and hiring process?
Yeah, so I think right now it probably looks still a little bit similar to the way RTX would hire and interview candidates. Now that we are a smaller company, we're clearly trying to move faster so that we can, from initial candidate identification to interview to offer, we're taking down to hours, not days or weeks. Within our Codex business, we are really hiring for some pretty unique technical skills and aptitude, as I mentioned earlier. So we do have sort of an on-site technical part of our interview where we let you sit at a desktop and do some different technical challenges and see how folks perform against those. And if they're going to be a good fit, did they enjoy it? Could they solve the challenges? And it's not even about solving them, but it's about the thought process of, can you solve problems when you've seen code or something that you've not seen before? How do you analyze it and work your way through it? So we do incorporate that into our interview process, and we've found that to be really successful, making sure not only we're identifying qualified talent, but also helping the candidates ensure that, hey, this is work that I'm going to want to do 40 hours a week for the next few years, and it's a good fit from their side as well. So we've found that to be successful.
Kind of try it before you buy it. So I think that's a really cool model and gives that candidate a really good understanding of what they're going into. But another important part for them to understand when kind of accepting that is about the culture. And I think you're in a really, really cool spot. You have that amazing foundation, kind of what was there before. But now as Nightwing, you have this opportunity to create new. Like you said, you're kind of working through that innovative process of interviewing, but you're also laying out what does it feel like and what is the culture there. So tell us a little bit more about what somebody could expect from a culture fit at Nightwing.
It's something that's super important to me personally, and I know the entire Nightwing leadership team, including our CEO. We want to create a culture where folks want to come to work every day. The things that we're doing are hard. They're meant to be hard. National security problems are hard. So, we really focus on creating an environment and a culture where people want to show up to work every day. The cornerstone of that is hearing from our employees and inviting them to make it the workplace that they want it to be and that we want it to be. So one thing that we do is we do regular all hands. It gives our employees an opportunity to interact directly with our CEO and Nightwing leadership team. We also have regular office hours where LT members kind of dial into a Zoom, and employees can just join and ask questions and hear what's going on in employees' lives, what their concerns are. We talk about mission successes. So it's a real way that, we sort of help that interaction happen between, leadership and individual contributors, all the way down through the ranks. And then we try and get out to the sites. So I'm regularly sort of on the road, going around to different sites through the different states, Texas and Alabama, South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Florida. I'm on the road all the time, meeting with employees, try to hold, regular lunch meetings and do skip levels so that I know what's going on in the business, where things are working well, where they're not, so that folks feel like, hey, if I've got challenges, leadership is listening to me, they're helping me solve problems and knock down some of those barriers that enables them to better do their job and support the missions that they're supporting. I think we all view that as our responsibility to create that kind of place that we want to work. So it can't just all happen top down. It's got to come from the bottom up. We have a lot of groups, at least within our Codex group, that pop up that, they started making fresh bread every Friday. And that was just a group of employees were like, hey, let's make fresh bread every Friday. Well, now it's like a cornerstone every Friday. I mean, our cafeteria smells like fresh bread, and they share who's cooking what different weeks. They make different things. And it's just been a super grassroots effort to do something like that. And now it's a part of who we are. So there's lots of stuff like that happens all over the company all the time. It makes it a really great place to work.
Okay, I'm showing up next Friday. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have a few months under your belt now with the new company. Other than bread on Fridays, what is another new exciting aspect of Nightwing?
I think it's just the fact that we are in charge of our own destiny. If there's something that we see that needs to be done to make us more effective, we don't have to wait on anybody else in a big company to do it. It's up to us. I tell my leadership team all the time, if you don't like something that's going on, just look in the mirror. It's up to us to go solve these problems, fix these challenges, and really move the company forward. So the ability to control our own destiny as Nightwing is really exciting. The sky's the limit. And as sort of the theme of this call, when we work together and bring the breadth of the company together, there's really nothing that we can't accomplish.
Tim, I thought you said when we bring the bread of the company together, and maybe I'm just hungry. All this talk of bread and carbs,
Yeah.
I can't. Here we go. So are there any job search tips that you would give our cleared professionals that are interested in pursuing a career there at Nightwing?
Showing excitement and interest in technology. If that's what you love, we're looking for people that are excited about what they're doing. Military experience certainly eases the clearance access process, and it makes it easier for us to upgrade folks' clearances if needed. And then, we have several employees that are still active in the reserves and support their services. So, that's where we can take folks that are in the reserves, provide them some training, as I mentioned earlier, to help get them up to speed. And then sort of a more tactical thing is to reach out to our recruiting team. Brian Gilsbach, Jamal Webster, Nicole Walls, those are a few names from some of our senior recruiters that folks can reach out to on LinkedIn. You can certainly reach out to me and I can connect you. But they're all part of our talent recruiting team and would love to have you connect with us through either our website or look us up on LinkedIn.
I've known Jamal for a way, way long time, so he's definitely a great person to get in touch with. So you mentioned earlier that everyone is responsible for their own career. Talk about that and the opportunities for career growth at Nightwing.
I do believe that everybody is responsible for their own career. It's not a supervisor's job to sort of ensure that our employees grow in their career. I think that's up to each of us as responsible employees to take ownership of that. No one else is going to do it for us. But what we do at a company level and what our supervisors are responsible for is ensuring that as somebody wants to grow in their career, they want new opportunities, they want to work on different programs or rotate around the different business units. It's our responsibility to facilitate that. And we take it very seriously. And so when someone comes in and says, hey, I've been on this contract for the last 3 or 4 years, or I've been doing this, working in this technology domain for the last 3 or 4 years, and I want to do something differently, we take those things seriously and look to find those new opportunities. So going back to not bread, but breadth of the company, we have lots of opportunities, lots of different types of jobs and programs that we're hiring for and looking for talent in. And so we facilitate those rotations and try and help people grow in the career path that they want to grow. Some folks are interested in moving into management. Some people only want to stay technical and become more of like a subject matter expert in their technical field. We support both of those paths and work with each employee to develop that plan and help enable it to make it happen so that, they're getting fulfillment in their career growth by staying at Nightwing and not looking, to go to another company in order to achieve that growth.
Great advice, great recipes, so much goodness out there. How can our listeners get in touch with you, Tim?
Nightwing.us is where we keep, all of our job openings. And then there's some other info out there about the company and the leadership. Personally, I'm out on LinkedIn. That's primarily the only social media that I use. But then there's Nightwing pages out on X, Facebook, Instagram. And those are all linked out on the website as well. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to chat.
Tim, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you explaining to our listeners all about Nightwing, all about all the great things you do from a culture standpoint, and that you make bread on Fridays. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
I always love talking to customers who've been around the community for a long time, but then spin off a new company. So great things that Tim shared with us. One, I really like that they understand they need to sort of peel back some of the layers in remote work. And even though they have highly cleared work, they've been able to work with their customer and the contracts to have some remote work. So applause for doing that. The other thing is creating a new kind of culture. And as Tim shared, something organically happened where the team was starting to do bread on Fridays, and now it's a thing. So that is how you create culture, through an organic way of people living their true life at a company. So we really appreciate Tim and his time that he spent with us today.
We appreciate you so much for staying to the end of the show, but we also really appreciate and enjoy those 5-star reviews. So give them. And give them frequently. Make sure you get out there and follow on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you.